you can find, because this team needs you right now. Damwon Kia fans, if you want to see them make 4 LCK championships in a row, they're going to need your support as well.
Here we go. Aphelios banned here on blue side. Umpty's Lee Sin, target ban. The champion he defeated, Damwon Kia, with that fantastic kick play, then a second kick play around the Baron pit.
Yeah.
They're just going to remove that one straight away.
I think they've actually got boot marks still on their faces from that one, Wolf, I imagine, and that's why the Lee Sin is going to be taken away very promptly.
So, with the Karma and the Caitlyn banned here, you're now at a crossroads as Fred Brion, because you could either leave Twisted Fate open, or you have to ring. Considered to be in it for most of our teams in the LCK just yet into the Zeri, but we have looks like here. But
I like just Zaya Rakan.
Yeah.
Here, right comfort here from Fred Brion. And I picking up a lane that can work out. He can take the Ahri if you'd like it.
Yeah, if you'd like to have it here, works very well with the Zeri. Be a huge problem, and I think that, you know, do like it, but getting jungle priority pick is where they're going to go. You really need priority couple lockdown for, and the Viego lock.
Exactly, it's going to be tough. Can do it. Kind of expected.
Broadcast to deal with his band likewise.
Viego has been so incredibly successful recently.
I'm very surprised to see that.
So I'm wondering, does this mean that Lava wants to get counter on Damwon Kia's side, has shown weakness?
This ban here, that interview, like, and maybe we end it here for them as well.
Corky pick.
You know, you're gonna
champion. He has been doing it in solo queue. Of course, recently he hasn't been playing all that much on his main account, at least. To his kid.
Wow.
Him too, because big.
I don't even like it a little bit more. I like it a lot more. I think that it is far more could rely on Yush and rely very dangerous when really important. And R5 Aatrox. So on both sides, it's going to be the third time that we've seen the Aatrox. But here we are, the first game of playoffs. Damwon Kia taking on Fred Brion. Fred Brion here for the very first time. Damwon Kia looking for their 4th LCK title in a row.
And I want to go
to win 2 more of these at least.
I want to go back to what you were saying about the nerves, because Showmaker has shown so many times too, whether he's trying to prove something or if he is frustrated, he pulls out the Lucian pick. We've seen it so many times, even when it didn't necessarily make that much sense in the past. It's been one of those champions where he's extremely dominant on, or he falls behind early from some big aggressive attempts to get solo kills or 2v2 kills, where he falls behind then really loses momentum. And in this game as well for Damwon Kia, like you said, if you play a comp that's so reliant on having full control the whole time, if you lose it, you might be losing for 30 minutes before you lose a game. And that's what gets into your head. That's what messes with your brain a little bit, is actually just playing this kind of unwinnable, it feels, game for so long. And with this quirky composition, Fred Brion are almost certainly sending us there, as we've seen throughout the entire early part of this season.
And the only real anomaly that I'm seeing on the side of Damwon is a Bertle that, if he gets ridiculously fed, can just execute Lava, and then the Corki is no longer a problem. And Zeri exists. And currently, Doc Dam has only been allowed to play this one once. It was a win. No one let him play it ever again after that. And this guy has been a little bit subdued, I'd say, in his performance so far, as Showmaker is going to be able to get the double tap onto Lava, who's going to take the long way around. Might miss experience on one of these, but no, it looks like the damage spread is going to be enough for him to get back.
Yeah, not going to be too big of a deal, but yeah, it's really interesting too, because Lava has been, you know, one of our resident Corki players. Like, he was playing it before everybody else.
He's been playing it for like 4 years professionally.
And this season, he was playing it before everyone else, and then he was also playing it after everyone else. Like, after everyone else was like, no, it's nerf, we're not going to play it, he kept playing it. As Showmaker, obviously very famous for his Lucian, and as you can see, his win rate is extremely high here too. Really iconic champions for these two players. One of them a little bit more relevant in recent times, though, in meta, and that's the Corki. But the Lucian is going to guarantee you that early prio, which is so important. This is what we were talking about in the mid-jungle 2v2s.
Yeah, it's just getting the most out of it is going to be the most important thing. As on this patch, Zeri 6-1 so far, 85.7% win rate, but we've seen Zeri's picked in ways that have been so much better, especially later in the season. not allowing the Caitlyn's to be up, the Karmas to be up, and Freda Brion haven't got any of these classic answers that we've seen to the Zeri, and so she might be able to pop off. But I'm just worried that it is a bit of a handshake to a short-range carry champion, and there is a Corki in the game.
Yeah.
And Corki's very long-range late-game carry champion.
It's really interesting because I love the way that Damwon Kia started this draft. When they banned the Rise, they took away the Aphelios, and they were like, okay, well, now you have to ban Twisted Fate, or we're going to get the Zeri, and you've already chosen to ban the Caitlyn and the Karma. It looked like Freda Brion were hoping for Damwon Kia to and then get the Zeri themselves, but it just didn't work out that way. And I like the start of the draft for Damwon Kia especially because of that, because they really set this up nicely for them, but the rest of it feels like it was very freestyle, whereas Freda Brion had a clear plan here.
Yeah. Well, Morgan gets word that there is a polar bear heading towards the top side of the map. Very much like that Canyon chose his own champion this time around.
Yes.
Of course, if you've seen Damwon Kia's Twitter, you'll know that Canyon is a polar bear. It's just how it goes.
That's just who he is.
Cheetah recall here for Doctum on the bottom side, as now Canyon's going to get the Umbral dash and actually flashes in, but Bertle wasn't on the same page.
Oh man, that is a huge overextension to actually lose Flash this early like that. Now Umpty's over here.
Yeah, he's going for the counter gank. Morgan actually able to press up again, and that was miscommunication on the Damwon Kia side.
Bertle was not ready to follow up on that, and that's a flash down. And of course, using his stun early too means there's no fault. Bertle can't be like, oh, okay, never mind, I will go in with you. It just doesn't work anymore. So just kind of hover around here. The counter gank timing really nice if they had committed in after that failed flash engage.
Look at the wave as well. Morgan holding it really beautifully. Kellen coming in to try and get deep vision, but it is going to get...
合わせなかったらお前の責任だっつって。
desperately trying
ケニ
to
オ
get
ン
this
が怒って
wave
帰っ
towards the turret. Umpty just going
た。ムティうまいね。
This last minion is going to go wide for Bertle.
Yeah, that controller is so valuable too for Umpty. Allowed him to know the entire time he was unseen and could surf around that area. Does of course himself, but man, that's a early flash down for a jungler that's so reliant on it in the Volibear. It's going to give him the guaranteed stun engage. It's not going to have that.
テレポート使わせる気だ。
Nice little tricky fake recall here from Bertle.
Yeah, but Morgan's just going to teleport back, so not going to miss out on too much. Just let's have a look at this one from Canyon's perspective.
バードルがこれ合わせてればな。 イグナイト
basically.
込みで多分キルラインだったんだ。
I go what he said in Korean is basically like the expression for like, oh god, you know.
Yeah. I was actually talking about this just the other night.
Miscommunication.
Is grunting sometimes
Yeah.
when it comes to like subtitles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hilarious.
Well, they will get the first Drake. They have enough priority on the bottom side into this early Xayah, and the pressure is real in the mid lane with the Lucian pick, but they're still going to get this first Drake, so I don't want to overreact or get, too into the weeds on that flash play from Canyon, because it was definitely a mistake, a definitely worrying sign. Not only but potentially future ones.
今月末ぐらいになるかもっていう話だったんだけど、今降りるんだ。
For Freda Brion. So far, it's gone pretty well. Delight got his Rakan, as you can see, 61.3 win rate, percent win rate, and he's been very impressive with a lot of the ways he plays out engages, the ways he also plays alongside Umpty. Is once again Showmaker diving into lava, gets over the wall, but thankfully there is a wall there, and lava is going to be able to outrange the culling this time around.
Umpty's here.
In he goes. Flash is available for Showmaker. Doesn't have to use it. He relentlessly pursues his way out. I guess he was pursuing his own turret.
Pursuing an escape.
後期はテレポートあるから。
He was
リコールしないと。
as you could see that he has taken a pretty significant CS lead, despite not getting the kill there. Like
後期でグシアは合ってると思うけどね。
We've seen so many other champions punish
ミッドジャグが特に序盤強いコースって。そのプレッシャーですげえボットも楽にプッシュ。
It feels like you have to kill him. You have to get actually noticeably ahead in these lanes.
Exactly.
To really cause any ruckus.
うまいね、ゲームの組み立てが。トップはもうぶっちゃけ、なんか負けてもいいんで。
And making sure that he can
One more.
Oh,
smite to ka.
An accelerated Zeri is a very scary thing.
And here we go.
Yep, going for a little bit of an engagement as Umpty was roaming his way down, but don't have to overly commit Delight, no manner at all.
Showmaker
cleared this one out very quickly.
He had a bigger CS lead than he does now, because in part due to the fact that he didn't take teleport. Because that's how much he wants to, as you say, get the kill. Like you kind of have to. And
こっからだな。テレポートがない後期が
solo kill
フ
Lava
ァームできるかどうか。
and prove something here. He saw those votes and he was like, man, a few people had him ahead of me. I'm gonna have to prove something here. But
I'm a bit scared being
下手にミニオンにスキル使っちゃうとプッシュウェーブになっちゃって最悪だから
yeah, me too.
Oh god.
But
丁寧に
what
後
I
期
was
サイ
gonna
ド
mention is something Valdez mentions all the time is that if you pick Syndra, for
Ah,
example, or
Kabakita.
even Oriana sometimes into this matchup, you could force out a Hex Drinker. But Lava is not only, only going to find himself less than 10 CS behind so far in this game, hasn't been killed, hasn't had to flash, but also doesn't have to build a Hex Drinker on his way to his items, and the item spikes is going to hit. So that's one weakness of the Lucian pick into this Corki as well. This isn't going to slow you down as much. Unless you do get solo kill, unless you
ライブはミラーできない
Lava
から
has shown so much respect.
Well, Umpty might actually find Docdom here roaming in his own jungle. He is going to blast cone his way over, slinks into the mist, and Docdom is going to get zoned away at least a little bit from this turret on the bottom side, and this is just going to be a handshake. Fred Breon say we don't need Shelly.
今日も LCK あるんだっけ
To take the plates herself, as Umpty is also dealing with these Krugs on the bottom side immediately. The Rift Herald will go down into the mid lane though, and a Corki's turret is very, very valuable. Only one plate has been taken, and so far, Damonki are very happy with what this has netted them.
Yeah, if they can fully remove
Na
it,
ruhodo.
then it is massive, because, this is going to be a lot of gold going over to Showmaker, and it needs to be relevant fast. Get that Gale Force online.
いやもう LGL を見る日が多
Now
すぎ
gonna make
て
his way in. Should be able to get an E out of Showmaker, who just sidesteps and doesn't actually have to use it.
Yeah, this is unfortunately the problem with Viego lockdown on the mobile champions.
Yeah, well, here's the world end.
今ライブでやってんの
Finds the backflip as Morgan has been
ラ
lit
イブでや
on
ってんだ
fire.
ったらライブ見ようかな
Oh.
Perfect execution's gonna come out and Morgan flashes.
That was like both Morgan making an error with that second Q, and also Birdall not trusting his damage. I feel like
今ライブ
I'm
で
not
やって
actually
る
sure. And backs away, they both
あ
end
ライ
up
ブでやっ
living
てん
here.
な
So
今やっ
flash
てます
down
ね
for Morgan,
デイワン
ignite
さん
of
とレボ
course
ルさん見
utilized
て
there
ま
for
すね
Birdall. Bit of a shaky start here for Birdall.
レボ
You
ル
can
さん
feel
が
the
水
nerves
ピンで取られて
on
ます
both
よ
sides, right? You could even feel it when Canyon made that first gank in the top side of the map.
And this is,
プレイオ
of
フラウン
course,
ド1ドア
kind
ク
of
スブスク
technically
ドフ
Birdall's first playoff as a starter, right? And this is an
デイ
expansion
ワン
map. is
デイワン頑張ってんじゃん
Second Q here for Morgan does not connect, as you can see, goes wide there. Birdall goes back in, and then when the flash
外してるバードル
runs out. I think could have pursued that a little bit further and
I mean,
probably
the
had the
perfect
kill
execution, I
guaranteed.
think, just kills him if the flash doesn't
腫れ
come in.
物
So
かす
you're
たもの
probably
ね
very happy with that as Birdle having a look for a second
こ
time.
れだからお
Yeah,
じい
no,
ち
I
ゃん
mean, you're still
派
happy with the exchange. I think the kill was possible. They played, a little bit more aggressively there, but either way, still find yourself up,
録画でいいや
a summoner spell.
ライブ見てる
It's gonna come back
んだ
much
ったら
faster.
わざわざ枠かぶらせなくていいだろ
Flash more relevant. Is Fred Brion gonna group up
アイ
on
ズ
this
さんに
streak
声
right
かける
now?
のはそれを言って言ってた
As they do manage to take it, so the first Drake for Fred Brion will go over. Hex Drake was already taken, and we get an Infernal Soul.
俺
First Dragon Soul of the playoffs. thus
怖がられてんの
Lava has himself a package that he didn't need to use in order to secure that dragon.
毒
You
の
might
ト
tell a
ッ
bit
プ
of
や
a
っぱ
story as
ひ
to
ど
why
くないか
Damonkia
い
didn't decide to fight for that
Yeah,
one.
I think so. I think you're exactly right. Don't want to force that one. You're already up.
いやまあグレイブスは上手くなったから
If Fred Brion are even on
Grave
Drake, this
swap.
Infernal Drake, where they're going to be trying to speed along, get that one up as soon as possible for their Corki, who's going to love it. It's a problem for Damwon Kia that they can't sit Drake fights out, because they need to be fighting. They need to get ahead. But that's the problem with this comp into an Aatrox as well. Like, the Aatrox is happy to fight these out, in the future. He's about to start getting his spikes online.
Well, good
Kellen.
stun onto Kellen. Takes a lot of damage here as Lava feels like he has enough. There's the flash. The quickness was there, and that is going to be first blood. Going
Yeah.
fight on the top side of the map as the backflip comes in. Perfect execution is not quite perfect enough. And Bertle's down to 100 health. The Lord is now pressing down on this turret, but he will relinquish his control for now, opting in for a back.
And they both have teleport, so close call once again here in this top matchup. Gotta say, the nerves, whoever wears off with the nerves first is gonna get a huge edge, I think, in the rest of this best of 5, because clearly they're both feeling it a little bit right now, but you know who's
いや
not,
で
is
もうまく
Delight,
耐えて
who
る
once
ね
again on his recon makes the flash engage happen,
めっ
picks
ちゃ
off
苦
Kellen
しいと
there.
思うけどな
And
よ
that's a
く
kill going
くれ
over
るのよ
to Fred Brion, the first blood of this game, going over to Viego. And he's already outpacing the Volibear in the jungle right now. You can see he's 10 CS
Yeah.
up right now. And I gotta say, like, it's very slight. But the
これ序盤主導権がダムワンサイドにあるから入っていくんだけど、
flashes for the knockup, and that's a guaranteed kill. 400 gold going over to Umpty. But this is the Fredit Brion lead that's the scariest. Like, the Fredit Brion will take a lead like this and hold, like...
If they're winning in the early game, you know something has gone wrong for the other side, because this is not a team that's used to being ahead from the start of the game.
いや、ビエゴがキル持って、 結構ビエゴが殴れればなんか逆転できそうだけどね。
Yeah.
In wins. Like that's where they sit and look at the graph right now.
It's the opposite of the Kwandong Freaks, you know? They're the team that needs to be ahead early. Fred and Brion almost look like they're in their comfort zone if they're losing early. That's kind of how it works. And they've crafted themselves a comp that should be getting pushed in, especially in that mid lane. Top side of the map, certainly there's some scaling advantages. Dr. and Kellen have laned very well against Henna and Delight, and have been able to secure that priority as well. But Canyon on primarily this early game jungler, Umpty on a champion that does want to try and do a bit of scaling, but also is required to get a bit of help in the early game and now has first blood.
This control ward is super important that's going to spot Umpty, because Showmaker wanted to get this turret. He has his Gale Force online right now, maybe trying to bait this a little bit as well. Yeah. Not going to commit, and they will save the turret here. Umpty with a really nicely timed roam over here. I guess gank you could call it if he was going to go for it, but... takes a visit over to threaten Showmaker. The turret survives, which is really critical, because if he actually gets that with his Gale Force that he has, can push the Corki out, then it becomes a lot more difficult for Lava to farm. So having that turret is so essential.
ミッドのアウターをダムワン早く壊したいな。
Very far ahead right now based on the fact that he's picked up 4 of these plates. Bit of that gold went over to Canyon, of course, because Shelly was slammed into that turret. But as you can see, even with the massive difference in plates, Showmaker's not going to quite find that. Cannon doesn't quite get here in time. But even with the huge difference in plates,
クリティカル出ちゃった。
that first blood certainly helping out. As now Canyon pays another visit towards his top side. Morgan is going to respect it. Kellen's over here as well, and there's a lot of vision for Damwon Kia in that river.
What's so interesting for me about Dukdom and Kellen in this series is, you know, they did a lot to get this Zeri pick, and, you know, it's his second time playing it this season, which is crazy to me. But it's insane to think that, like, Zeri doesn't seem like a champion he'd be strong at because it is so weak in the laning phase. In the 2v2 is where Dukdom is most famous for his 80 carry plays. Aphelios where he gets ahead, gets all the plates bottom, gets all the plates top, you know, with Kellen. And Zeri's a champion doesn't really do that. You know, you're going to be 0-0-0, you're having a good time. And that's just not really Dukdom's playstyle. So I'm excited to see how he performs here once again on this champion they prioritized so highly in the draft and set up a really nice path for him to get it. And so far, so good for him in terms of his item path, but he hasn't been able to pop off and show his normal Dukdom prowess in the early parts. In fact, is going to lose his turret here.
Yep, and of course,
ヘラルドでもミッドに使おうかな。使いたくないよな。
You know, 3 is the dream for the champion as Kellen can put a bit of pressure onto Lava, gets the Valkyrie out at least, and that will secure the turret. Here in the mid lane, Damwon now just trying to push down on the map. As Showmaker has found Delight, good battle dance is going to save him his flash. That is only
このドラゴンは BRO はボットレーンに寄ってたんで、来るはずなんだけど、ミッドの主導権でブルーサイドだからポジション有利になって。取れるとでかいぞ。あー、キャニオン。おー、取った、アムティ。
Because the Drake is just going to get smoked by Umpty. This is the worst.
I guess it's about that easy.
This is the worst scenario for Damwon Kia because if you lose Drake but win a subsequent team fight, you're like, okay, well that's fine because we got the gold.
でもミッドの主導権あるから、これサイドをどっか押してリフトヘラルドアタック2回入れるっていうのを考えるだろうな。トップサイドが一番無難だけどね。明かり側じゃなくてルシアン側にヘラルド出して。 トップのインナーにヘラルドぶつけるみたいなできるといいけどで BRO はディープワードたくさん置けてるんで、まあ、どっちサイドから相手が仕掛けてくるかある程度読みやすいね。今ボットサイドに敵映ってないからトップのカバーって
Now Lava is going to be wary of the positioning of Showmaker, and man, Fred and Brion are not like playing into any of these baits. As I say that, I may have just cast a curse the heck out of him. Showmaker, but immediately Delight's going to dive on top of him. So much damage comes through as the
うわー、イグナイト。
Goodbye Showmaker. Showmaker, 2 kills to Fred Brion. Kellen might be going down as well as Umpty gonna get stunned up, but the Red Bull
アムティが強いけど
gonna lock down the kill. Ulti comes through from
TP が若干だけどダマの方が早かった。
The execution is good, but the world is going to end for him. Morgan's gonna pick up that kill, and now Henna chasing down for more. Infernal chains are going to get broken, and now Doctorm is Zeri. He's very scary. And they're looking to try and dive underneath this turret. Extendo beam not
そう
going
だ
to
ね、リ
connect.
フトヘラルド。これでインナータワーにぶつけたいから。
Doctorm is still fighting this one out. As Henna,
あー、ゼリってやっぱイカれてるわ。
This is a really big trade up for Damwon Kia because they will get
狙い通りだね、ダムワンは。
and this is really
トップ
important
レーン
because
で
Henna is
結
now going to be
局
forced away from so much farm and it needs
ヘラルド出してインナータワーまで当たった。狙い通り。炭酸トレードだけど、ダムワンの方がやりたいことやれてる。ただ BRO もうまく守ってます。本当に。はい、こんばんは。 まあ、ミッドのチャンピオンがある程度落ち着いたからね、アーリーライズルブっていうので、まあ、とりあえずライズアーリー消えとけば出しづらいやろう。LB だけちょっと特殊だから、まあ、ライズアーリーが本当に今ティアが高い。その2体が消えた時に何出すかっていうか大事だね。
If Lava lives there and Aatrox is hitting everybody, then this is like game-ending fight for Frederick Brion. But we didn't have that fight, and Damwon Kia holding on to this early game comp as best as they can. 2 kills over now to the Akali.
And look, it's an early game comp, but if Doctorm gets more of these kills, I think it still wins in the late game, right? Because we've seen skirmishes so powerful as Morgan. He's going to get locked down by the solar flare. He's now trying to fight this one out, but it is not going to work. Unfortunately, the Aatrox ultimate does not work the same way as it used to.
No, certainly does not. And that's a huge kill. Once again, going over to the side of Damwon Kia, a 3rd kill.
オーガさんフラッシュあったから
And so the Zeri is going to continue to become more and more relevant as time goes on. The weak point here really is the Lucian.
ここはタワートレードだったね。キャン1キル渡しちゃった。エイトロックスでちょっと課題からフラッシュあるし、ちょっとだけ甘えたポジション取っちゃったね。
Quite a bit. Then they're going to have the late game Zeri, they're going to have the late game Akali to contend with Frederick Brion will. And
この1キルはミッドの CG ができて、ボットの CG もできて。ああ、モーガンがデッドしたせいでインナータワーまで取られた。やることお互いやってますよね。モーガンのミスで今大きな差がついただけで。BRO としては後期のパワースパイク迎えたいんで、それまでなるべくゲーム時間伸ばしたいんですよ。ミスです。完全に浮いちゃってる。得意だったかな4位対6位の3位対6位の今日やってるのが4位対5位の戦い。後期がだいぶダメージ出るようになってる。ドラゴンはミッドのアウターが取れてないからかなり不利だけど、後期のポークでなんとかするしかないな。当てろ。ラバー当てろ。一発も当たってね。パッケージのゾーニング使ってなんとかドラゴン取りたいぞ。3つ打ったし。当たった。ラバー。パッケージ。パッケージ。あー、ぼやー。お前パッケージいつ使うんだよ。今かよ。ドラゴン取るために使えよ。
Morgan has kind of dropped the ball in some of these fights as well, just not able to really have any impact here as Doctorm wants to get lava. He's got Extendo, but he won't actually link it together there with the turret. But this was a fight that Frederick Brion had all the cards stacked in their favor in, but they couldn't pull the trigger when Damwon were trying to fight over Vision. By this stage of the fight, it's already basically too late.
バロンは無理だね。
His package usage is phenomenal.
相手のターンになる。
Threaten Showmaker here and put him down extremely low, but he's over the wall and in a safe
勝った後って基本的に相手の方が湧くのが早いんで、ポジション取るのって基本的に相手側なんですよ。
The fight is lost once Damwon Kia are actually in control of the Drake. Despite some heroics from Lava there, you only get one package, and you're gonna have to be hitting rockets.
一回勝ったけど、なんか勝ちきれねえなっていう時は相手のターンになってることが多いです。ダムアンは今まだベースじゃないですか。に対しても BRO はメンツが全員ベースから出てるんで。まあ単性っていうかテンポだね。試合のテンポ今どっちが持ってるか。単性って言ってるのは多分あれだけだね。日本だけだね。海外は基本的には試合のテンポどっちが持ってるかっていう言い方する。
こんなさつくんだな。
Checking in on the Bramble back. Not going to suffer too much as Fred and Brion find themselves down.
ちょっと大きなミスが BRO は2つあったね。
They can do this, Aaron, too. I think this is not out of the question. And Fred and Brion will see this. And I think if they didn't, you finish that one and you push them away. And if you can waste the rockets from Lava, too, before these fights start, you know, he's going to be kind of waiting for those on cooldown instead of being able to freely spam them out, which is pretty nice for you. There's a lot of ways you could threaten a Corki, too, in fights like this. Birdall has control of the top side of the map.
Yep, Control Lord back of the pit is just going to get cleared there by Canyon, and the map starts to go dark here for Fred and Brion.
And this allows Duckdom to freely go take the red buff. He doesn't have to be anywhere near this because he knows that Fred and Brion have very little information. Showmaker will clear this board now once again. Well, I guess he's going to play it a little bit safer there.
Yep. He's going to quarter clear it.
That's, I mean, if that ward is still up, then Fred
まあもう
and
バロン
Brion
意識し始めて
and that can actually back
ヒ
away.
ットのインナーまで取れてるから圧倒的ダムアン有利だね。トップのインナー取りに行くんじゃないかな。今日ボルビアいるからバロンでもいけるけど、トップのインナータワー取ってからでもいいと。相手のジャングルモンスターのリソース奪いに行ってます。これでグロンプを奪うことに成功、ブルーバフも奪うことに成功するかな。SHG にこれをやってほしかったな。バロン触ったらちょっとリスク高い時間は、でも有利取ってるしみたいな時は相手のインナータワーと相手のジャングルモンスターを食うんだよな。
really going to struggle unless he gets a really crazy angle, which you're not going to get when you're behind and you don't have vision. Like, how is he going to be able to ever lock Duckdom down? Like, no.
キャニオンのレベルが13に対してアームティが12だから。
With rockets or big ones, in particular, if he hits a big one or, you know, big one and a regular rocket.
で、ちゃんと自陣のジャングルもリコールタイミングとかで例に戻るときだった。ちゃんと自陣のジャングルも食ってる。これ多分クルーグも明かりが食いますね。テンポ大事にするんだったら食わないかもしれない。多分食って、そうだね。クルーグ食ってる。お、食わない。ってことは試合のテンポ大事にしてるから、なんかアクション起こすんだ。ドラゴンか。
ゼリじゃなきゃもう少しなんとかなってたと思う。
Not looking like they're going to get all that contested.
Kellen's positioning. This game has been so good, and he has nothing to fear because it's a Corki comp. Aatrox isn't going to be able to blow him up. Aatrox is never really near where he is. He's just clearing wards so well and aggressively positioning. And this just means that Fred and Brion don't have vision, as we talked about, and they can't see where the rest of Damwon Kia is if they're sitting on the edge of this river and that choke point, you know, and this just allows Canyon to go, okay, well, I'm taking this, you guys can group up, or rather not group up, split up across these lanes, Birdall pushing bottom.
この時間は相手がオブジェクト取ってるんで、ジャングルモンスターは BRO が食える。
so with no vision here for Frederick Breon,
さあ、
they're
こっ
not
から
even
だ
able
ね。
to wrap around and punish Duck Dom, nor could they try to challenge Canyon doing the Drake. If you
バロ
look
ン
at
どう取りに行くか。
the full picture of the map, it's like, wow, Canyon's just going to do that by himself? Well, not really, because his team's pushing 2 lanes, and they removed all the vision, so it's a realistic option for him.
Yeah. Cyrilda's almost done here for Henna, as well as having 3 items now complete for Lava. That more of Malmortius has now come in. But it feels like Fred and Breon really have slowed down in this game. You're starting to see where the win conditions are going to be coming from for Damwon Kia. Bertle, this powerful, should be able to execute Lava in the backline. Docdom, going to be so hard for Fred and Breon to lock him down when Morgan has been struggling this much in the game.
Yeah, and at this stage too, with how much money Canyon's picked up, like he's so tanky, he can just frontline against the Aatrox. Like he's not afraid of the Aatrox. Kellen's not afraid of the Aatrox. So
これ
unfortunately, Morgan is just
様
kind
子見て
of
る
a piece of cardboard in this game.
コントロールワード使わせるための
he's
触りでしょ。
not going to be able to threaten anybody, and he needs to help set up for Rocket's
あ、もう
landing
食い
here.
切れる
Lava
判断。
so far has
いや
not
ー、
been
結構
able to-
際どいけどな。反転すると思うけ
Well,
ど。
that one's going to land. That one did a lot of damage. A gentle reminder that Corki is still
反
Corki.
転でしょ、これ。そうだよね。やるつもりないよね。
来
ないんだったらやる。そうだよね。反転だよね。
By Lava as he Valkyries his way out. And Damwon Kia are going to back away from the Baron. So Fred and Breon, they do get what they wanted. Not going to win any.
ここでミスったらミッドのアウター取られて BRO が逆転するきっかけになるから。 あ、相手のミス。あー、BRO 焦った。ヘナがポジションミスした。最悪。
Nope, definitely not. And that is very likely to be the team fight that wins the game for Damwon Kia. They played
いやー、BRO もうちょっと我慢できればなー。こう
composition does so well with this quirky composition with an Aatrox and the front line that they have with the Viego is defend objectives, but when they don't have control and they don't have vision and they have to be the ones walking towards a turning Damwon Kia, their composition is at its ultimate weakest, excuse me, at that point. And that's why you see them struggle as Lava's going to come over here. They're going to maybe look for a steal.
Yeah, he's got a package. But there is an Akali waiting around here, as Lava is going to do so much damage, it's absurd. Solar Flare connects as well, as the Baron is down to about 1,000 health. The Force Bomb comes in, but Canyon is going to be able to find this line package delivered to Bertle. He's in the cage, doesn't have anywhere to run, and he is going to deny Umpty an assist as he does fall down. But Akali for Baron, I think Damwon Kia are kind of okay with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at how, many ways...
これミスなんだよな、これポジション。川殴りに行っちゃいけない、ヘナは。
You already got him low for me, Showmaker. Cool. Look at where Morgan is in this fight. If he's in with all those low health bars and Lava's able to hit rockets behind him.
まあでもバロンで体力削ったからちょっとでも有利作りたいっつってタワー触りに行っちゃった。
lose out a little bit in terms of discipline here on how they're playing this quirky comp because the pressure is real. Like Damwon Kia really putting the screws in by
相当焦ってるね、BRO は。このまんまと負けるからなんかしないとっつって。
They're very happy to take the rest of the 4 Baron buffs, the gold that comes with it, and now the pushing power that should lead to some inhibitor turret damage at very least.
And now Showmaker, happy to chill here towards the top side, putting extra pressure on. Some resets and everything like that, so Showmaker can't push up too far, but they've got so much vision that he can feel safe while he does so.
Spirit Visage done here for Canyon. He is just so unkillable. And because he can tank so many of those rockets, I mean, Lava is not able to really hit priority targets. He needs to be hitting the Zeri and or the Akali, which he hasn't.
まああとクレンズフラッシュ R ってあるから多分さばける判断だろうけど自信があるからさっさとタワーを追って生き残るって判断だったろうけどあ避けられなかったねやっちゃったああいう時はでも自信のあるプレーをねやるべきだからね ADC が結果論失敗しちゃったけどあれ、キャニオンの反転を避けてれば分かんなかった。タワー取れてる可能性があるから。結果論としてポジション。
And I think that what we executed
R 打
here,
ったけど
or
死ぬ
what
と思
Damwon
って
executed
ゾニャ
here
使ってんの
is
めっ
Fred
ちゃおもろい
Brion,
な。
we watched them execute is a control of the mid to late game extremely well, because there were times where we were worried for Damwon Kia, like, ooh, they don't have enough control, they didn't get enough of a lead. But then they do what Damwon do best, and they fought out some team fights really well. They used their compositions, win conditions extremely well. They forced setups on Baron, where Fred Brion had to respond, and then they were put into bad positions on the map. Damwon Kia got enough of a lead there on Duck Dom through those team fights that this game is just, unfortunately, completely off the rails now for Fred Brion. There's no good plays to make.
Yep. As Bertle's going to dive over the wall, Morgan taking a lot of damage here. And man, the amount of turret destruction Damwon Kia are capable of right now. They have Infernal Soul, triple Infernal Drake on top of it. Their stats are ballooned out of control. And this is a composition that's absolutely snowballed the way they needed it to. It didn't come about, like you were talking about, right? We were a little bit skeptical about the
難しいな BRO ここからは。
But it's a mid-game comp. Maybe we shouldn't have been too worried. It might have been the fact that this team just got 2-0'd.
I mean, look
by
at
Fred Brion.
Look at Umpty just get 100 to 0'd by.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Showmaker just looking at him. He's like,
あ、もうこういうの狙うしかないからな。
and I will kill you. He was a vulnerable Lucian in the early game, not anymore. We're not at that stage. Fred Brion could drag this game out a little bit longer, but it's the Elder flip that you're hoping for if you're a Fredit fan here in this one. But the chances seem so slim considering all the different ways Damwon Kia could shut this out. How difficult it is for Fred Brion to set up on the Elder for a fight like that.
And this is the first time I've really liked the Black Cleaver on the Zeri as well, because now you've got a crit 80 carry in the mid lane.
Yes.
So Dogdom is able to augment that
デリ
damage
のブラッククリーバー強すぎるんだけ
even
ど。
further by being able to stack it up so extraordinarily quickly. Zeri, pretty cool how she can do that. And Dogdom just having the time of his life. Kellen taking a lot of damage though, as Showmaker trying to get some poke in there. Fred Brion are able to bully some control over the Fnatic brush here on the top side. Otherwise, not too much more. And when we're celebrating, holding onto a control ward in a brush,
こんばん
as
は
like、that's
ルジルの見返しは終わっ
you know
ちゃい
they're
まし
pretty
た
far
か
behind.
Damwon Kia are in a position in this game where
あ、LGL まだ見返ししてないっす
all
よ。
they have to do to win the game is take Elder. And so they could just push these waves out.
Oh no, is it another Elder flip
Well,
game?
all they have to do is just push waves and then in 4 minutes time set up on the Elder first and do the same thing they did on the Baron fight and force Fred Brion to walk towards them. And they just won't be able to do it. Fred Brion have to somehow wrestle control away. So Fred Brion have to now like look for a pick and, you know, hopefully for them like a little bit closer to the spawn of the Elder Drake, you know, maybe 90 seconds beforehand, look for a pick.
Yep. Well, Ravenous Hydra completed for Lava. That's 4 items on the Corki. He does a lot of poke. There's no stopwatch or anything like that. He's vulnerable.
No survivability is, speaking of which...
あ、ラバが。
Yeah, lying in wait.
おお、警戒し
Spawn
た。
comes down. Umpty is going to check the brush. Showmaker not going to go in
トップレーンのビッグウェーブに甘い立ち位置で一人でクリアしに行くやつを狙ってた。これで遠回りさせる。トップレーンの上。これトップレーン意識しなきゃいけないぞ BRO。もうミッドでタワーひたすら守ってりゃいい。ラムアンは。
And this is the same sort of problem that I was talking about before on the Elder. It applies earlier here on Baron.
Yeah, Umpty gonna have to dash his way out as Canyon actually doing a fair bit of damage. The Showmaker does even more damage by like a large margin.
He has a stopwatch too. Showmaker does some plays like this and the hide in the bush that he was doing earlier. Not
うまい
really
ね。サイドレーンちゃんとコントロールしてて。
if he is caught or Fred Brion turn on him, and that will buy enough time for his team to collapse in and take that subsequent team
エイ
fight.
トロが映ってる。
This is the worst
あ、でも
place
明かりが
for
カウンター
He's
ジャングルしてる
like,
から
Fire
行かない
Rocket's
ね。
blind, he's about to run out.
Yeah, Showmaker gonna get tagged by one of them. Wasn't a big one. Does have one lined up now as Solar Flare is immediately gonna get can't cleanse a whole host of damage. The culling comes down and he has to flash, but Delight not gonna be so lucky. As the Zyra is going to limp her way to the fountain, but that is going to give Damwon Kia all of the
インファ
control
ソウル
they
ってやっ
need.
ぱクソ
And
だ
they
わ。
kill Baron so fast at this
一
stage.
瞬で解けたけどラ
It's
カ。
absurd.
Yep, and they will certainly do that. Exactly that. They just walk back over here. And for Freddy Brion, there's nothing really more to scale for on the Corki here. You know, you have your 4 items online. It's not going to get better from here. What you really need is vision, and that's not something that killing minions can buy for you. Unfortunately, you're not going to
まあでも BRO な行かなくてもいいけど、あそこ。行かない方がいいまであるけどな。そうインファソウルの時って、バフのウェーバーのブッシュが焼けるんで、バロンへのアクセスそこそこしやすいんですよ。守るラインがちょっと高いんだよね、これ。
she
Oh, Delight. Given his life for his 80 carry, you love to see it, but it is heartbreaking.
Oh god.
That could be just a real dead umpty. He is going to use his stopwatch, but Bertle is lurking. Nice little sidestep. I don't think it's going to quite be enough, as Umpty does have a shield, and he is going to survive, so never you mind. Fantastic little escape there from Umpty. They'll probably still lose the game, but it was a really cool little escape.
Now, you know, you could see the power of Zeri at the late game. We've talked about it so much, but when she's this fed, even her extendo beam is like deadly, because if you slow somebody and then walk forward and start doing that damage, like you can actually 1v1 anybody. You can 1v2 almost anybody on Frederick Breon. Like you're not even scared of the 8 procs anymore. I mean, you never really were. You never really were, to be frank, past like maybe the first 15 minutes of the game. And Damwon Kia, like I said, all they have to do is push waves, don't overextend, go and kill the Elder. 30 seconds for that, and that is your win condition. Then you could just walk down the mid lane.
Yeah, and actually, you probably just want to make sure that you completely block off Frederick Breon so that they can't even walk over and try and flip for it, because we know that this is a team that really likes flipping for Elders. And I don't think that
エルダーで決める気か。
opportunity to actually do so. Umpty very, very low.
無理にインヒビター壊しに行かないなと思って。エルダーで決めるか。後期のポークで一人背負っちゃうの相当嫌ってますね。まあそうだな、プレーオフだから慎重になるわな、より一層。
More consistently than Lava's hitting his. Showmaker is found.
Yeah, and Delight actually going to flash on top of the Zeri. She takes a fair bit of damage, but does get to relative safety. The ulti comes through, and now Docdom creates enough space. Bertle is going to lock down the kill on the Viego, and now, with everything invested, trying to kill the Zeri, that didn't work. It's going to be game over here for Frederick Breon. Damwon Kia execute their more early focused composition so beautifully around the Akali, around the Zeri. And now they'll move to 1-0 in this best of 5. I don't think Frederick Breon are going to leave Zeri up again.
I do not think so. I do not think so. And I think some of the ways they ban.
アナリストどこ取るの？ あ、ここか。まあそうだな。ここで見つけられなくて、マップ主導権ここで取られちゃったからね。デリが寄ってて、ザヤが遠回りしなきゃいけなくて。TP やっぱ明かりが早いけど、エイトロックスが遅い。
ここらが先に引いてるんだよな。
ザヤも。ラバが引いてる
You think you're collapsing onto one member, and surprise, surprise, the whole team's there. A Showmaker tries to go for a pick. Obviously, the 1v1 against Lava is heavily favored. Dives to the final tick of the Ignite, and then Canyon crucially waits a little bit here, so that the setup with his...
いや、キャニオンとあかりの TP で前出れない。
There is still a man advantage here with how early Showmaker died. Crucially though, 2 kills for the Akali, which means that the side laning for Morgan becomes better. And Docdom, even though he didn't get the amount of kills that I think Azeri always dreams of in the montages, still accelerated himself. And from that point forward, Damwon Kia had some real pressure points that previously were lacking, because it's not just the kills, it's the fact that a lot of summoners are invested here, right? A lot of cooldowns are used, they get the top side turret, they get another charge on the as well. Is that he breaks up this output the game-breaking points where Bertle,
Package.
his damage output isn't the highest, the key thing there is he misses his R2 as well, is that he breaks up this fight and he forces a lot of defensive cooldown users right from the get-go, right? And then even with
いや、MF は結構パワーあると思いますけどね。
and this point, the Zeri gets really fed. Showmaker, even though, you know,
Delica.
the kills he kind of...
Yeah, and Frederick Breon are going to have to be careful about what the jungle pool looks like after this next ban phase. Showmaker is going to lock down the Ziggs. Docdom was fantastic at this pick. Of course, Ziggs Leona, the most popular Ziggs lane that we've seen so far. And this gives Showmaker like an avenue to get towards something like a Yone if he wants to. anything there in that mid lane.
I mean, depending on how things look here with the draft, like he could have gone for Lucian again as well, but I don't think that that's going to be what you see into the Ryze. The Ryze can definitely win that one out. Love this Trundle ban, really strong here with the composition that Damwon Kia has put together. It's got so much poke. And that's what Damwon Kia have in spades in this draft, is you want to make sure they can't have a really great front line, so to back up the Ziggs poke, the Jace poke coming through. Because you're going to need to somehow close the gap on these champions. They have the Nautilus for engage, they have Ryze, Realm Warp. You're going to need a little bit more than that, I think, here as Frederick Brion.
Yeah.
I mean, the Renekton is banned away. Irelia, I think, another great option, even more than the Aatrox I know everyone was thinking about there in that second phase.
You know what scares me? The fact that Damwon Kia can Diana Yasuo so easily right now if they want to.
They definitely can, and it's something that we've seen from them in the past, and they love their Diana, but it's going to be Nocturne, actually.
Okay. This is something that Canyon had some very funny moments on, especially when we listened in on the discussions when he was being picked. Doesn't actually play it a whole lot as far as practice.
ダイヤが出てくれば MF が出てくるっていうのは通りというか、ミニオンの後ろから隠れて Q 振ってくるのに対してミニオンの後ろに隠れてたら MF の Q が長弾でヒット。
Harmalife Esports made it to Worlds last year.
Yeah.
It was Morgan's Camille being so incredibly consistent.
で MF は公園ミニオンの後ろにポジション取んなきゃダイヤの Q のができないから。
They want to go with the Volibear.
結構いい
Synergizes extremely well with the Ryze here because you can Realm Warp in. Volibear's got the setup stun. You have a Camille who has
レーンの有利から動くっていう性能もすごく高いですから。
Dive him repeatedly. If you get that first Rift Herald, you get that turret early. I do like the Volibear for this, but I do think in team fights it is going to struggle against all of the poke damage.
ADC はね、常にメタが回るんです。
Yeah, that's an Akali, and that's looking like it's going to go into the mid lane for Showmaker here.
レーン強いからサミーラとかカイサ出てきても MF と戦えるんですよ。あいつは序盤から強いからね。これノクターンドラフトだ。アマンらしいっちゃらしいのか。ショーメーカーの個人技で勝つ。もうミッドジャグで勝ちますみたいななんかドラフトしてる。俺たちはミッドジャグで勝つぜ。
It's really interesting how the Nocturne can operate into a comp like what Frederick Brion are running because it's very low range. You've got the Ryze, the Aphelios as your kind of carries. Your top laner is going to be looking to aggressively hex tech forward and try to lock down the Ziggs or the Jace, you know, if you can get that close in. But that allows Canyon.
ジグスレオナはちなみにレーンめっちゃ強いですからね。レベル2マジで強い。
Morgan tries to go in and then suddenly Canyon just flies over the top of your head. You can't see while you're engaging that ultimate out. So you're both unable to actually frontline and look for those picks, and then your backline is completely exposed. I really like this pick into what Frederick Brion are running for that reason.
できますできます。
Control over, you know, the way the team fights are going to be shaped, especially if you get ahead in the early game.
Yeah, I think Frederick Brion are going to have to play very.
ただミッドジェイスで問題点があるとすれば、タワーが叩きづらいっていう。序盤のタワープレートの金稼ぎがちょっとし。で、あとはポークがちょっと当てづらい。どっちかにこう寄らなきゃいけない。その寄った側に相手のジャングルが来てた時やられちゃうから。でも今回ノクターンだからミッドしっかり見てもらえれば速攻で手助け入るんで、それが結構フォローアップされるかな。
Last year, including the Nocturne, and some other champions that were flexing the Lee Sin that we saw played mid last year too. And into this Ryze matchup, you know, it's a lot closer than the Akali. Like, if you look at the minimap, you can see Showmaker is actually trading back aggressively, and Akali would just kind of be sitting under turret, being like, well, this is just how it's going to go for these first few levels. So I do like this swap of lanes.
Yeah, first strike being taken by the Jace in the mid lane, just to make sure that he can maximize the amount of damage that he's able to do. Next tech sweep here onto Bertle, who is going to be pushed in the early game. Not necessarily the time for the Akali. Great little trade there for Morgan. Does take a turret shot though, as Showmaker will lose out on that trade at least. 100% win rate on the mid Jace so far, 3-0.
Yeah.
We mentioned that he dabbled in it. Dabbled pretty successfully, as it turns out.
And this was during, obviously, a very dominant era of Damwon Kia, where, you know, he was winning with basically everything. He also is our biggest champion pool mid laner that we showcased earlier on the pre-show.
Yeah.
I think this is his 16th now this season.
17th.
17th, okay.
If we include playoffs in regular season, yeah.
Insane.
It's definitely a large one.
Okay, here's the first dive towards the bottom side.
Yeah, trying to capitalize here as Umpty and Lava, both of them going to move on in the flash. Wastes absolutely no time, does Umpty, as it is going to be first blood going over to the Aphelios. It's exactly what Bro needed as Kellen flashes on top of Lava, gets his flash out.
いや、ドクターもうまいね。レベル3って普通 E の地雷を取らないんですけど。
Showmaker's going to be trying to get some plate gold here in the mid lane. I don't think he'll be able to get it quite on this first trip, but he's going to significantly get a lead here in terms of the
レーンが負けてる前提で多分取ったんだ。
The Realm Warp plays that we can see with this Volibear can be illustrated before Realm Warp is online. You can actually do this at level 4 as Lava if you have enough control over the lane, which at this moment he did. Jace had just teleported back. If you see at the Summoner's Fall at the bottom, he had just returned to lane, so Lava had that extra prio, takes his opportunity here to dive. And yes, it's a flash that is picked up here from Kellen, and he trades back a kill, but the most important part of this is the
Ryze のフラッシュが使いました。
And that's the most significant exchange here. Leona picking up a counter kill isn't as important. And that flash that's lost for Lava, yes, you know, you feel good about that, but isn't as significant at the end of the day. So definitely a huge trade up here for Frederibrion.
Yep, nicely done. Getting money on the Aphelios, just a brilliant thing. Right now you can see
ドクターンが6になるまで各レーン強気に出れないから。
He wants to hold on to the TP, which I find very interesting as Delight's going to move forward.
あ、かぶっちゃったスキルだ。
Graviton power right there, and this is why you see Aphelios Leona in the early game against champions like the Ziggs can be such a big threat, as he doesn't really have any way outside of his satchel charge of getting away in moments like this. You mentioned Duckdom having a phenomenal performance on the Ziggs so far. He's 4-2 on the champion.
ジグスレオナのフラッシュないからもう一回狙いたいけど。
As you know, plays like this, getting rid of that flash means when the Realm Warp play comes up in a minute with Umpty on this Volibear, when he comes over, tries to turn that turret off, being flashless is such a huge problem as the Ziggs. And Aphelios isn't going to need a flash to make that dive play happen. The Ziggs is going to probably need it to escape.
Yeah.
Or he's just going to get zoned out of farm, which happens a lot.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's the fact that Frederibrion are actually playing super aggressively with this composition in the early stages of the game. Of course, Ryze and Volibear, two champions that want to have mid-game dominance. And they're setting up for that win condition now. It's not necessarily Frederibrion's forte, but it is certainly something that they can try to play around with this composition. Red-white guns here available for Henna. And Delight just lying in wait, trying to get more done. And we know that Delight, when he's on, he is so extraordinarily good. Let's see whether the Nautilus is going to be a harkening back to that.
Yeah, I mean, last game he had some great moments for sure when the game was even, and in the mid-game, you know, was caught a little bit, didn't have as great of a time, but in the early parts of the game last time, he was definitely feeling himself a little bit on the Rakan. And in the second game, he's going to be pressing his R button to the fullest of his capabilities to do so when the Volibear runs in. And so, in moments like this, when you have this wave pushed in, Lava's not seen on the map, like this is where you can threaten Duckdom. Notice how far back Duckdom is standing right now because he just does not know where Umpty is, doesn't know where the Ryze is right now.
Yeah.
And this is the power of compositions like this into someone like a Ziggs, or a champion like a Ziggs.
And it's also like about playing into a Nocturne as well, who's so reliant on level 6.
Yes.
And Frederibrion have just identified the fact that they can do whatever they want until that point has been reached. Canyon very, very close to that right now. But already, Frederibrion being able to get themselves first blood is a good move. But we're talking about this like Frederibrion have it, you know, all under control.
さあ、ダムアンの時間だ。僕が6になりました。
And keeping things very even here in mid as well. So we can see Showmaker now able to pull ahead by a few CS.
And despite the, you know, dive working out, it still was an assist going over to Ziggs, and he's only a few.
ただカミールなんだよな。ヘラルドどうするかな。難しいな。
Shutdown. You know, sometimes we'll look at games like this where Frederibrion's behind and you're like, okay, but it's fine because the Ziggs doesn't exist. But he's actually just recovering very nicely. And now level 6 is hit for Canyon here.
Yeah.
This is when the sparks could really start flying.
Well, speaking of flying, here comes the Nocturne, and that is a Mega Inferno Bomb to death. It's going to be the Nocturne that grabs the kill as well, and that's actually great news for Damwon Kia, as immediately they strike back against Henna. And I was about to talk about the fact that the Aphelios, if he does get fed, it's so huge for Brion, because then he gets to fight off Canyon and doesn't necessarily die to him, especially if Severum's up.
Yep.
He had Severum
いや、いいね。トップサイドで戦った場合、ワンチャンダマン負けるからね。ジェイスがインファイト難しいから。
Just toss bombs out here to get his cooldown on his passive so he can hit that turret a little bit harder. That's 2 plates. And this is without
EPS で負けるんですよ。ダマンの構成。で、カミールもライズも、オリベアもフラッシュがあって、で、スネアとブリンクがあるから、1キル拾えなかった時にダムワンがめっちゃ不利になる。上側の 3V3。確実に1キルでノクターンのスノーボールを狙った形ですね。これちょっと警戒を怠ったな。リフトヘラルドに行くって思っちゃってた。
Hit by Zenith Blade, Solar Flare, Inferno Bomb, and the R button from Canyon all at once. Watch Canyon's perspective on this. He waits for the engage.
Yeah, like exactly. The right range.
Hex Flash, boom. Everything is completely timed out.
Yep, and that's the follow-up, right? And so now Kellen can basically just engage at all times, and then
ヘラルドがあればジグスだとタワーが1本確定だから、アフェ側からするとプッシュして100ラムでタワー削りたかったんだろうね。見合っちゃう。
Yeah, and so many junglers that aren't relevant right now in this meta are relevant with comps like this. As Birdall gonna, that was a nice little shield back.
Very nice.
Oh, I was just gonna say that the Nocturne functions very similar to the Viego in a comp like this, where the Jace hits the poke, the Ziggs hits the poke, and then Viego gets in and gets the resets. But Canyon just kind of gets to press R on somebody, and then they die.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you got hit by a bomb. Like there will be times later on this game where Duckdom will ult Henna, and if Henna is hit by that, Canyon presses R and kills him. Speaking of killing.
Oh yeah, tactical sweep comes down as Birdall is going to find the backflip. Morgan throws down the ulti, but the
うわー、またバードルお前
The Ignite take him down, but Birdall is going to stand his ground and win right now against the Camille. Great news for Damwon Kia, able to at least assert some dominance there towards the top side.
Another great
せっ
summoner.
かくドラゴンをチームで捨てて 1v1 の状況だったのにトップレーン。まあ、でも僕が LGL のアナリストで言ってたやつですね。トップサイドが 1v1 でかけてもいいよのタイミングがさっきのタイミングですね。ちょっとフォーカスがブレたぞ、ダムは。お、ライフスティール
No one dies on the side of Frederiprion or Damwon Kia, so theoretically, Bro walk away with the Drake, and all is fine.
Damwon Kia didn't have enough setup time
to get that ult
like we were talking about to then execute a backline target. So even though the ult was really good there from Canyon, gets him on top of the Drake, he's not fast enough to do it in order to get the smite away. And obviously Damwon Kia could have lost that fight miserably if Showmaker's positioning wasn't so god tier in this fight. Because notice they have a moment where they're like, alright, we're going in. Solar Flare comes in, then the ult button is pressed, Canyon gets on top of the Drake, isn't able to smite it away.
ジグスナールを普通にポリビアに打ってれば、ポリビアを倒せるんだな。
And Henna cannot hit him with the Infernum. If that hits, he dies, and Frederiprion get the Drake and a kill. But at the end of the day, not going to happen that way. As a Showmaker's perspective here, he's got a biscuit he's chewing through to survive. Always eat those.
You gotta always eat your biscuits, everyone. Cookies will keep you alive. That's what I've learned from this moment. Of course, a little bit facetious there.
Frederiprion do get true Drake lead from this, which is something they absolutely need to have in a game like this, is to have that tempo advantage. However, find themselves
ヘラルド時間切れだからミッドに来るね。読んでる。
isn't big enough, but at least they're able to hold on to both objectives. If Damwon Kia wrestle that away and win that team fight, the momentum shift is insane. Can't be overstated.
ジグスのあるミッドに打てばいいんじゃない？あ、TP したか。そうだね、ミッドのアウターはこれ残す必要がダマンはありますから。
Try and lock this one down. They may actually just kill Shelly as the hook is going to connect, and it's going to be the Nocturne falling down. So they trade Shelly,
このワンデッドはワースだね。ジグスなんでね、ジグスがミッドレーンに行った時にタワーがあるなしで、全然ゲーム展開が変わるから、削られちゃダメだよ、ミッドタワーは。ここは守んないと。
Isn't going to find it, but notice that Duckdom is zoned away from minions here. He will eventually be able to catch some of these as the turret goes down, but this means Henna is guaranteed basically all of these plates. Uses his ultimate to get some of those minions.
Yeah, the cannon is going to be there as we're fighting over a blue buff as well. Paranoia as Canyon just comes back. It is going to be the blue buff secured by Canyon. Can they find a kill as well? And absolutely they can. The volley bear is going to fall down. Delight doesn't find the hook that he's looking for, and now he's out of this one. Hextech ultimatum comes in. There's the realm warp as well as Showmaker dives on top of yet another kill. He will fall down this time, but that is not before doing considerable damage. Two Fred at Breon, dead in this fight. Damwon Kia with a huge win.
Yeah, Damwon Kia just took the free delivery that was given to them in this fight. Is Fred at Breon we're in a position to potentially
いやー、ノクターンじゃなければねミッドプレッシャーダイブからのボットダイブ CG っていう流れなんですよ。で、普通だったらここにノクターンが間に合わないんですよね、相手のジャングラーが。これジャーバンとかリーだったら絶対間に合わないんですけど、ノクターンなんで間に合うんですよね、このルートが。マジでノクターンじゃなければDRO はやってること正しいんだよな。
They really weren't. Like, they didn't actually have to lose more, but they did. And now Damwon Kia have such a lead in this one team fight. I mean, they're sitting at 2,300 advantage against a comp that needed to be so far ahead.
すげえ攻めてるけど、DRO。
They're almost too far behind.
うまくいかない。
I want to know what Showmaker said to the Fred at Breon players in the locker room before the match, man, because
ダムワンが硬い。で、ジグスがちゃんとミッドに行けた。もうここからはレートゲームに向けて相手のミスをダムワン側がついていくだけだ。ダムワンが主導権取りました。リフトヘラルドでミッドのアウターが取れれば DRO もまだチャンスあるんで、リフトヘラルドでミッドのアウター絶対取んないといけない。ジグスがここのポジションでミッドのアウターがあるとウェーブクリアできちゃうから、もう触れないからね、タワー。
To playoffs, which is champions like the Ari, like the LeBlanc, where he gets skill expression through the early laning phase, the mid game, and the late game. And in this game on the rise, he's once again kind of made these realm warp decisions. The roam we saw bottom early got the kills, but it wasn't clean, it wasn't perfect. And I feel like Lava can't express how strong of an assassin mid laner player he is on this champion. And I think Fred at Breon looks so different when he's trying to play the macro game and not the hands game.
いい勝負っすよ。DRO が負けてるけどうまく戦ってはいるんです。ただ、ダムワンの方がやっぱ上手ですね。トップのタワー捨てて先にミッドのタワーだ。リフトヘラルドでミッドタワーを相手が取ってきたときにカウンターができるようにミッドタワー取りました。トップタワーを代わりに捨てる。これでミッドレーン周辺での戦いが長くなるんでノクターンがカウンターしやすいですね。ノクターン11になりたいですね。早めにヘラルド栄唱してミッドタワー取んないと。いいな。あ、取りに行くけど、ノクターンは10。取れるか際どい際どい。あー、一応モーション入った。取れない。ほーら、タワーを取った価値が出てくるぞ。ですよねいやー、マジー。もう、ダブワンの手のひらの上じゃん。ここまで読んでさっきのミッドのアウター取ってるプレイだからね。うますぎるこれは。ダムワンが。いやもうこの試合のアナリストデスクやりてえわ。
Man, this game is just so wide open for Damwon Kia now because they have such a massive lead on the champions who need to have it.
はい、こんばんは。これがうまかった、これがうまかった、これがうまかったしか言えん。
These are what these control wards were for. It's to kill Showmaker again, guys, of course. Delight's gonna move on up looking for the hook now.
あ、これはチャンス BRO。
It's a decent spell shield from Canyon. He'll still die as Showmaker has to flash, and Morgan will get the prize that Fredbrion so desperately want as he sacrifices himself to get on top of Doctarm. Lava grabs that kill as well as he's tanky enough to tank
ガマンがローテーション初めてミスった。何があった？ちょっとリプレイ後でもうファイトしてたから分かんなかったけど。何があったんだろう。
And what I will say about Fredbrion, nerves or no, they will commit.
Oh yeah.
でも DFM もミスるからな。
But this is one thing that's really important in the best of 5 like this is actually still having the ability.
まあでもプレイオフ確定してたからな、あれは。なんかチャレンジしてたから、まあいいか。プレイオフになったら多分慎重になるだろうし、ガッチガチにやるだろう。何があったこれ。ああ、ショーメーカーがトップのタワー叩こうとしてテレポートで戦いに来て、ジグスが TP したけどってやつか。多分これミッドで明かりがアフェリオス倒せなかったんだ。え、なんで？なんで明かりアフェ倒せてないんだ？
We know this. If they're down, that is only giving them more power. But that is a few kills that they picked up. They're not able to get themselves a gold lead or anything like that. And the state of the map is still the state of the map that it was over the last little while. A lot of topside vision that's not necessarily able to be played around. And Fredbrion need to start fighting for these drakes. Need to start getting themselves to a potential soul point or something like that.
Yeah. And in 2 minutes' time, we will have that fight. And for Fredbrion, most critical thing is that they keep
あ、カミールの TP アクションか。ああ、なるほどね。カミールが明かりに勝てば、まだチャンスはあります。
Jace doesn't even need to be hit and poke. He could just go into melee form and run forward, and there's no stopping it. And
まだ勝てないけど、ラバナスハイドラ。
what this comp is designed to do for Damwon Kia is kill that backline AD carry.
Yeah, their single target focus is actually just insane. And compositions around like whether or not a Leona can find that like heroic engage, and
わかんない。インフィニテッジ、ああ、ブラッドサースターに切り替えるのかな。コレクターかなんか作ろうとしてたけど、ブラッドサースターに切り替えるんだね。明かり、ジグス、ノクターン、でこうバーストもポークも強いから、ブラストサスターでサステイン確保してなるべくレーンに居座れるように、こういうポーク食らった後にライフスティールを確保したいから、序盤レーン勝ってたから多分コレクターかなんか行こうとしてたけど、途中で切り替えたんじゃないか。ブラッドサスター必要だっつって。
Pretty good at face checking,
and it's tank rise, so you know he did his combos. He was
怖いな。
but it's not doing damage, unfortunately, at this stage of the game. At any stage of the game, he just isn't going to be doing that. Not old rise here.
ポジションはダマンが有利。 でもおびき寄せてる分だけ BRO いいけど、こっからだよね。うわー！ホラーじゃん！ホラーじゃん！
It's about time Fredbrion started thinking about game 3.
Yep, this game is over, Alice. So this was just once again a showcasing of what this comp could do, but also showcasing of how good our observers are and how they hit the vision of what Fredbrion could and couldn't see.
視界がないの完璧に理解してた。
We also knew, but you know, if you're watching at home, it feels like you can feel the tension. Where's Kellen? Where's that bomb coming from? Where's Canyon going to ult on? And you can just see Fredbrion, they're not in a position to do anything to hold onto the Drake tightly because they need this Drake. They can't walk away from it. They need to get ahead, and they're so far behind, so they don't have a choice. And Damwon Kia are like, well, Leona is wrapped around. Like this, let's watch it with the vision. As Showmaker and Kellen both wrap around the backside here. And Morgan is trying to zone Birdall out. He actually probably should have been a little bit closer to the backside of his team because he needs to peel. Look at how little he does in this fight. Like, Morgan goes over the wall at the end of this fight and dies. Because he's just not able to do
こんな綺麗に挟めることある？
From Hannah's perspective.
Yeah, Hannah's perspective is this is impossible.
真っ暗じゃん真っ暗じゃん もうレレクションのアルティメットで何も見えんじゃん
To be perfectly honest, I don't blame him because like look at what he's staring down.
いき
The
な
fact
り電
that
気消え
like
て
the
襲われ
flanking
るの
shot
怖
glass
す
was
ぎ。
there
わ
first.
ら。
Felt a
手の
little
ひ
bit
ら
like
の上。
overkill. However,
無理だってレオナの R すらも見えてねえよあれ
is capable of doing.
無理だってあれ
プロのノクターン杖。
Look, hats off to Danny for putting
やべえな
this
スティールがノクターンやるなスティール得意なんだよなノクターン
Need to try and rally, get towards that potential reverse sweep. Because this game is looking absolutely done and dusted.
Oh, it definitely is. Damage graph here shows the story. Like, Hannah has
こう
one
見ると
third
ノ
of
クタの試合
Dog's
でも
damage.
出そうだけど例に
And one
勝てないんだよな。
half.
そうだねまあていうか6までやっぱ圧力がないか
I
ら
don't think it is. As Damwon Kia
レーン耐えるのが大変だよねまあそのせいでボットダイブ BRO は成功したじゃないですか
He's like, let me get that turret down to about 25%, and I'll just take it off the map. Just see.
あれで本当は崩壊させられちゃうから
Coming through here, paranoia comes down immediately though as Damwon Kia decides to start the fight before Morgan can even get here. Lava takes a lot of damage, gets underneath his turret, but has to flash. As it's a flash forward, Birdle taking a lot of damage. Hannah now potentially unlocked as Morgan gets to the back line, but he'll just pop. Oh no! He manages to get into his stopwatch, but the Ziggs, the follow-up damage, the double kill already! As Umpty is down extraordinarily low, but he's not going to be able to commit to this fight anymore. Hannah is still up and does have his bloodthirst to complete as Showmaker. Yeah, he's just going to put the teddy bear back in the toy box. And Freda Prion look for the Realm Warp play, but Showmaker's already out of there.
Yeah, he's already out of there. There's no follow-up here, unfortunately. And Freda Prion keeps
なんか
their
高度なやつがおるな
alive here. Ziggs not able to actually satchel charge that one away just yet, but Freda Prion lose out in every single regard. And what's cool about the Ziggs pick when it's ahead like this is it does both burst damage, as you can see here, but also extended damage with the Leandri's burn. And he's just continuing to hit these Qs. And as the balls keep landing into the side of Freda Prion, they're burning down, they're taking so much damage. Morgan's flank here is just completely shut down by a like, cool story, bro. Like, nice try. As most of the
モーガンなんで R 使わなかったのノクターンの E のフィアが入る瞬間に R 使ってりゃさ
there's no staying power here outside of the Aphelios.
なんで R 使わなかったのモーガン
Aphelios can't get into range.
Yeah, Umpty as well, not able to actually do anything there against Showmaker. And so now it's a 9,000 gold lead. Damwon Kia have 2 Ocean Drakes now, so we're a minute away from Soul Point for theoretically either team. But Damwon have all the control of the map that they could ever need. And I'm really glad that you brought up the Ziggs because he's so oppressive when you're ahead as well. Because yes, he's got all that consistent damage, but he also has self-peel. He has peel for his teammates.
Yep.
And he has a billion AoE damage. Like at any moment with the Mega Inferno Bomb, which is just absurd. And he also has a Zhonya's to boot, so he's not going to be taken down easily here by Freda Prion.
If at all for the rest of this game.
He's 7, 2, and 8. Like this 6 is
good.
so big.
Also, 13 of 16 kill
Good
participants
damage.
right now is currently on a perfect game track for himself in terms of the KDA. He is still
まだセリルダできてないんだぜ
going to be totally fine in any scenario, could dive super deep. His engages have defined this game. His engage into Ziggs bomb, into Canyon ult. It's a recipe for success. If you're Damwon Kia, it's been working out so far. Now they can just group up and siege turrets. Why not? Just sit this one out, and just sit on top of this turret, force Freda Prion to group, and then walk back to your victory. Third ocean for them in a row. Not even great into this low range comp for Freda Prion. Like a 4 ocean soul is always going to be good.
But I mean, they have a lot of poke, so like being able to have infinite mana and always being able to get your health back, if they can keep Freda Prion at arm's length, it is only going to make it even more impossible.
Yeah, the health regen part of it's not important. The mana part, as you mentioned, is the more important one.
It's going to extend their 100% chance of winning this game to 100%, Wolf. It's insane.
And these are the types of oppressive games that both teams tried to play, and you could see Damwon Kia succeeded a lot more this time around. Their comp is a lot more well-rounded than the core comp we saw last game. And these are the nightmare games you play in a best of 5 where Damwon Kia just are so oppressive. You're like, I don't know.
Bratとサスターで
Life
ライフスティール
LCK championship team that also has a world's title under their belt. It feels so terrible to play into this, and you're like, well, we have no angle here, but we still have to try. We still have to keep our wits about us. We have to go into game 3 with the right mindset. And Damwon Kia is like, I will tear your mentality.
ジグスがダブル置くだけで多分トップのインヒビタータワーは壊れる。
Yeah. It's one of these games. This really does test.
ね、くっそ痛いね。
Fred Brown right now need to be thinking about game 3. They need to be thinking about what they need to adjust moving towards that next one, because this game, it's unsalvageable.
アフェのナーフの影響があるのかな。アフェって体力系ナーフされたっけ。何だったっけアフェの。やっぱそうだわ。アフェの体力とアーマーナーフされてるから、多分それ影響してんじゃねえかな、これ。こんだけ痛いの。
But he's just going to backflip away. The Rise is going to get taken down as Doctom is going to immediately flash, and Morgan just explodes. That flash was amazing from the Ziggs. It's going to be a double kill now for the Jace as well, as Delight will be taken down, and now Tanner versus the world. Red, white, don't fight, but oh my god, he's actually able to stay alive for so long. And that is the ace. And that may just be the game.
モーガン R はしたね。R はした。R しただけだった。R はしただけだったな。
They wanted to one up that. They wanted to show what it looks like when Henna dies last in the team fight. And I guess at this point, with a massive 11,000 gold lead, the result is still just gonna be the same. As the paranoia was actually really well executed, because at that moment, there's just nothing that
パラノイア、テレポート、バードル、裏取り、パラノイアの暗闇によって見えない、バードル挟み込む、フィアが長すぎてラバデッド、ダッタムが浮いたけどストップウォッチ、ヘクステックアルティメイタムで対応して嵐を起こすもの、アムティがなんとか1キルは拾うけどってやつだね。キャニオンがその瞬間にケリンに張り付いてケリンがダメージ出せないようにして、はいね。ケリンじゃない。ヘナだな。ヘナに張り。
It almost feels like Damwon Kia are intentionally dragging
で、1000ゴールドも取ったのがアフェじゃないからな。ボリビアなんだよな。
Make sure they win this series and also drag Fred Brion's mentality down to the ground before game 3.
There's no need to make any overextended plays. There's no need to rush this game at all.
これがね、アップとかに入ってればまだわかんなかった。
Move towards this bottom side. The Ziggs is about as fed as you can possibly ever be, with his Void Staff, Rabadon's Death Cap, as well as that Leandri's, plus all the safety that the Zhonya's will afford him. Also room for some control wards, as yeah, this talent not long for the world.
Oh, good.
Satchel to death, and yeah, he's got so much AP. Like these towers, he doesn't need the execute. Maybe it's just an auto attack would be fine.
Exactly, the auto attack I think did more than the satchel execute. His empowered auto, of course, with his passive.
Yeah, his passive does make it even worse. Still,
こんな全然ずらされてピックで強いの本当に強いですね。
あ、プレイオフに向けて準備してたんじゃないかな。パッチも変わって。ボットジグスはね、今後増えると思いますけどね、僕。ADC のナーフが軒並み入ってるから。で、代わりにルシアンはバフされてるんで、ミッドルシアンが普通に出てくるようになるだろうし。で、そのバランス取るために、アカリとジグスのティアが多分上がると思うんだよね。だから今のLCK なんかでも多分 MF とかが出たのは多分そういう理由だな。軒並みティアが高い ADC がナーフされてるから。まあパッチにすぐさま適用したダンマンに対してパッチに適用できなかった BRO みたいな感じになっちゃって。
and is able to satchel charge his way out. Takes down the volley bear as well, as Lava has to watch as his Nexus goes down. Game 2 also goes over to Damwon Kia. They now have match point.
Game 1, there was a shaky start. There were questions about.
Look at how the rest of them up.
And then we have bit really just kind of item to do more. The item is.
And this is exactly the same play that Fred
テレポートのカウンタープレイのところ。
a play that was set up by Damwon and attempted to punish, but honestly at this point, if Fred and Brian are looking like there's a juicy angle for a
OBRO めっちゃ良かったんだ。
top side of the map, around 10, 11 levels in, don't go for it. Everyone is there. Doesn't matter what the map state is, doesn't matter what, they'll be there. And this is something that I really liked because this is
ボットレーンのタワーを折り返すっていうこともできたんだけどね。
ルディルでミッドアットってあんまり見ないですよね。
そうだね。まあダイス DC がやるぐらいかな。まあ、代わりにあそこはジャグに AP を持たせたりとか。まあここはちょっと上手すぎたね。アフリオスの視点、アフリオスの視点見よう。真っ暗。これ反応しろは無理だろう。これ反応しろは無理じゃない？これ。あ、ジグスのある飛んでくるって思ったらさ、ソーラフレアでもう動けないんだよ。いや、これ無理だわ。
これはひどいコンボ。
As it will be Duckdom to the surprise of again nobody. I think there might be some other votes for.
あれ対応しろは無理だね。あ、TF 開いちゃった。ついに開いたか。
Fate, which is also probably bad, or twisted, I guess, is more accurate. As Frederibrian will pick away the Leona this time. Kind of like that. Of course, Kellen has been very, very good on this champion thus far, but his champion does go a little bit wider than that. As Umty's still smile on his face, you can see Frederibrian cannot be perturbed, right? This is their first time in playoffs, and Umty might be giggling a little bit because it's Draven, but it'll be Xayah instead.
I was going to say, if you're going to pick Draven, please do not pick it this early. Also, please don't pick it, but don't pick it this early either. Xayah is going to be the smarter choice here. Was really hoping to see a LeBlanc pick up here. I suppose they could still grab it in this third slot here before we go to the second phase, but Xayah pick here very early on, very face up, telling Damwon Kia, like, okay, your gold card, engages aren't going to be as easy to pull off. On the other hand, what's really great with Twisted Fate gold card engages and the pick potential is the Jinx, who's also going to be able to do just fine in this laning phase.
Flame Chomp is set up as well with the gold card. Just means that if Showmaker heads towards the bottom lane, there's no one that can really escape unless the use of Cleanse is going to be available and is used well. We'll see whether they lock down the bottom lane. There is a chance that it could just be Nautilus here or something like an engage support, and Rakan is going to be the choice. Of course, not a
Rakan 後出しなの？
Kellen just going for a different flavor of
engage,
and the Lava Corki is coming back.
あ、Corki はいいピックだね。TF もそんなに連強くない。
So there's a lot of power actually in this Corki pick that will not that you couldn't have seen obviously.
BRO はカミル取られたくないけど。まあ先出しだしカウンター取れば問題ないか。もうモーガンのレネクト開けてあげてよ。魂のチャンピオンだぞ、モーガンで。
We see the Morgan targeted Renekton ban. Renekton Corki is Frederibrian's
MO
when they run these compositions.
Yep, I really like the Jace Akali bans as well.
Yeah, I think that an Aatrox ban is likely to follow once again.
Wouldn't mind it.
A little bit tougher to pull off into Twisted Fate because he's
going to be able to
Everfrost. So, not feeling as great about the Aatrox pick in this composition.
Into Twisted Fate. See what they do decide to ban away as we'll win in the end, which I think is kind of crazy given the fact that she was pretty gutted on this patch.
Yeah, I was surprised if they were going to ban something like that. The Gragas was a great ban. Also, the Camille I thought was a great ban. Because the Camille is going to have a really strong side laning.
いや、これグラガス取らせたまだありそうですけど。だからトップで何出すか。スカーナソロ級で今、勝率上がってるんですよ。韓国サーバーで。登録するわ、これ。何回あ、そうだよね、まあ。TF カミール。
You could have, I mean, Fred Brian could have locked the Camille away from Dom 1K. This is such a strong pairing.
グラガス取らして、TF カミールで安い点を。あ、倍。普通に考えたらビエゴですけど。TF の対象ステイのゴールドカードとビエゴのダブルを合わせてガンクプレッシャーを出せるし、TF のパワーがない。ダメージがやっぱ TF 低いから、その代わりビエゴがダメージが。フォーカスを集めて1キル取ればビエゴが回って強いよね。よくあるパターン。
ジャオ後出しよくないけど、ジャーバンの方が良かったんじゃない？ジャーバンポッピー。あ、でもポッピーじゃダメだな。ジャーバンだって気がする。序盤ジャングルに支えてほしいっていう形なんで、パワーがあるジャングラーが欲しかったんで。イーシンがバンされてるんで、ジャーバンかシンジャオで、ジャーバンは、なんか、結局ビエゴを倒せないっていうのがあるから、ガンクプレッシャーだけなんで、ジャオが 1v1 だと一応、まあ、結構きついけど、一応勝てる時間帯があるから、基本的にカイティング、ポーキング構成だ。でも届いちゃうよ、ダマンの子。ラカンにカミールに T がいるから。スキル取ったらビエゴのアルティメットが回って簡単に公園に届いちゃうね。だから、あれだね。ジャーバンだと1キル取られちゃってビエゴが回っちゃうから、忍者を取って回せないようにってことか。アルティメットで。キンキンすれば倒されないからビエゴ回んないよねっていうことか。いやでもきついと思うな。
The ease of execution for them is also there. Like in terms of how you could set up these fights, as long as you know where Umpty is, if you could play around Morgan, you kind of just collapse on a target and kill them. And that's the idea. Is you could see First Strike is going to get a lot of value in this matchup into the Twisted Fate. You can see he's already trying to push those minions towards the turret. This is the big edge, quote unquote, that Frederick Brion felt they were going to get into the Twisted Fate. Like, oh yes, you have Twisted Fate, and that's one of Showmaker's best. 5-0 this season. The only player who's really playing it and finding that consistency this season. But, you know, in the laning matchup, I'm going to get ahead for free. So that's the idea.
Well, you can see there's also some other undefeated champions here, as Kellen's Rakan is 3-0, and Bertol's Camille is also 3-0. On the other side, though, the win rate's not looking absolutely fantastic here for Frederick Brown, but they have lost a lot more games. Remember, this is our 6th place team, trying to get as far as they possibly can in the playoffs. Canyon walks over a ward here, making his way into the mid lane. Level 2 gathered here by Lava. Means that he might have access to the Valkyrie. Don't necessarily know what he's locked in just yet, but Canyon not going to go for it.
5-2 was the score as well.
Grand entrance. Good zap connects onto Delight there as well, as Dokdam takes some damage back from Henna. Just battle dancing around here towards the bottom side.
Level 2 advantage.
Yep. Those have been doing pretty well against the Jinx, as it turns out.
Yeah, I think part of this due to Jinx falling off in the later parts of the season.
Morgan has a bit of a drink here as the Debonair Gragas. He is absolutely a gentleman.
あ、バードルさん、刀当たんで。当たんといきませんで、バードルさん。TF の援護があるから。
Maybe that's not called that, but
yeah, he absolutely is.
Yeah, no, you're 100% correct.
この構成はバードルがスノーボールしたら、ダマンはイージーゲーム。
So going back to the Jinx topic, like this is the relevant part of this. Zaya is winning a lot right now, and Jinx is not.
No, 0 and 11 in the last 11 games.
4 of those being Samdi, but look, there are players such as Duckdom himself, Deft, Ruler, and Aiming. Like basically all of our top 80 carriers are in this pool.
Gumyushi as well, of course. So,
yep.
Yeah, it's definitely not been doing the best. Let's see whether Duckdom is going to have a better time. Back to come through here for Bertle as he shoved that wave in. And now we're looking for a bit of a dive. In goes Delight now, but the Grand Entrance is going to be there to answer. Absolutely fantastically done, but they're still going to be able to lock down the kill. Bertle picking up the
お、バードルにキルが入った。レッドバフも入った。もう1キル。バードルバードルさんおい、ナイス。
Yeah, I mean, he'll definitely take it, but nice idea there for Delight. I think he couldn't have executed faster because it takes, I believe, 13 seconds total for that to actually trigger, so it just didn't have enough time to dive faster. If he died faster, would have given kill over to somebody else. I think the Camille in this case. You know, if you want to dive with Jinx like that, pick a different jungle champion. As unfortunately, Xin Chao is not going to be able to stop something like what we just see from Kellen here. Who's just like,
Grand Entrance is just perfect.
He just says no. And, you know, we've seen a lot of Hecarim dives work out better than this.
ダムワンのでしょ
Holy Bear dives work out better than this. It's a lot easier to pull it
まあ、
off.
2ウェーブだけやって、
Nice play. Kellen's like, I'm looking
こ
for
れダムワンが得ですね。
flashing for it. And, grab
ただ、
there.
この後の展開次第ではあります。
Flash, he says, is that's another kill going over to the
ジンクスのフラッシュとクレンズが落ちてるんで、
Very happy with that one. Of course, Duckdom not
ボ
actually
ットへの
able to
プレッシ
get,
ボットを起点に序盤
that one
ゲームメイク
and
できるんで、
no,
お、決めた。
for the next little while as Kellen's trying to get
あ
over
ー、ちょっ
here.
と良くないけど。
Once again, taking some turret damage
これ
from
を起点に
the bottom
ゲーム
side.
メイクで
This
きるん
time
で、
he's able to
BRO は。
walk away, and
なん
Fred
で、
Brown
カミールのスノーボールが始まる前
they will be
に、
rewarded.
ボットのスノーボールが始まって、ドラゴン取ってっていう展開を作れば、後期にバトンタッチしやすいから、この後もう一回決めたらって言おうと思ったらもう決まっちゃいましたね。
You know, you're not able to deny a lot of CS, but in fact that second wraparound pushes Duckdom out entirely. They get a second kill on him. So first one was okay.
はい、こんばんは。まあでもあれはプロだったらやりますけどね。
You get everything you want because you kill Duckdom here at level 4. He's already, you know, missing minions right now, and then they collapse on him and kill him. This one, to a certain extent, is kind of on Canyon. He's just not here to escort him back to lane, and this can happen to you. And Fred Brown played a long con game.
ダムワンの一番美味しいところはマジでカミールに1キル入ってるっていうことですね。これでシーンとカルマで購入できたんで、ボットは負けたけど、ダムワンとしては、ボットは別に負けても、まあ負けないと理想だけど、結局ミッドジャグトップで勝負する構成だから。で、BRO からすると、序盤の勝負できるポイントが1個増えたんで、増えたっていうか作ったんで、ここ起点に、レオナのロームで TF を潰していきたいですね。ボットレオンはもうレーン主導権絶対取れるから、フラッシュ上がるまで。このレオナのロームがすごい鍵になってる。お金持っててこの時間帯だとあれだったんですけどね、本当はモビリティとか積んで動き回るっていうのやりたいんですけどね、それぐらいの価値があるんです。で、モビリティとか。うわ、最悪。今のフラッシュいった？いらなかったよ。え？なんで
？For Drake. If they get this first Drake, it buys them such an insane amount of time with this composition.
Ooh, Grand Entrance gets the flash out of
He's
not level 6 yet. No Featherstorm to try and get himself out of the way of that one.
いらないと思いますけどね。
Exactly. So
ジンクスのフラッシュないし、E 届かなかっただろうし。E が届く前提でフラッシュなのかな。いや、クレンズあるしな。フラッシュよりクレンズで方がいいでしょ。
体力削られたくなかった。いやでももうフラッシュ上がるぜ、あとちょっとで。うわ、BRO 最悪だ。ヘナさん、それは良くないわ。これ練習道券取れなくなっちゃうんで。終わったかも。こっからフラッシュがないイコール。クレンズからでよくなかったっすか？その後の何か食らった場合に、クレンズからフラッシュアウトで、フラッシュ温存の方がやっぱ。EF ケアは確かに分からんでもないけど。でもジャングル、ボットのジャングルの中に味方が入ってたから。合流しちゃえば相手倒せると思う。いや、もうリフトヘラルドフリーだし、これトップに TF がスライド。そうだよね、体隠しながら TF がトップに走るよね。ラカンがミッドのカバーしてプッシュさせてるし。こういうとこうまいよね、TF の使い方。ここでもう一回ボットを潰すムードが大事だったんですけどね。ここと、あとミッドの TF の動きを潰すレオナとシンジャオで。
Took a huge rotation up from Damwon Kia to make Umpty feel comfortable enough to actually take this one away. But the end result
まあでもダイバーされなかったか。まだ揺さぶりをかけたいんだな。
Really nice reaction from Lava, of course, as well, to react to the move forward that Birdall had. They knew Showmaker was out of lane. And they just grouped up fast enough for Damwon Kia was like,
ボットが有利なんだけど、フラッシュがねえから次のポジションが取れねえ。
I agree. I think it was a good play from Damwon. Still looking to try and extend their lead though. You can see it's only 100 or something like that.
種めっちゃ勝ってるはずなんだけどね、ザヤ。
Lead for Henna here with his one extra kill and decent CS advantage as well. As Docdom has largely been playing weak side on this Jinx, but Damwon like I don't think they need the Jinx to get super ahead or anything like that. He's largely going to be catching waves in the 3 when they're playing out a 1-3-1 composition that Damwon has been known for many years. With the Camille and the Twisted Fate. Yes, the nameplate on the top side of the map is
レオナがミッド寄ったけどワードあった。
should remain relatively similar.
Yeah, we've seen Nuguri and Khan, you know, through the eras actually play this with Showmaker's Twisted Fate.
Yep.
Umpty not close enough to actually punish what was a very greedy setup here for Showmaker.
Well, there's a flash forward from
Flash
Canyon.
がない。
Taking a lot of damage. The Featherstorm comes down. Decent Blade Caller is going to snare up Canyon, but the Destiny will come in. The Destiny for Henna is Death Chamber.
Yeah, look at his flash cooldown. He's so close to having that one back up, but it's not ready yet.
そうで
Timing
す
for。this works out so perfectly for Showmaker.
あとカイサが出てきたから。
By Duckdom, and the follow-up is there.
Yeah.
And that's another kill going over to Damwon Kia in this early game, but it's also critically going to be
ほら、あの時のフラッシュいらんかったんやー。終わった。これで DRO は後期のパワーを迎えるまでゲームを作るレーンがなくなりました。3レーンルーツの状態が今なっちゃったんで、25分までゲームの主導権が取れない。後期の2コアまでゲームの主導権が取れないので、ギブって言ったらいいね。
As we're going to check this one out one more time. Yeah, I love the commitment from Canyon.
Docdom was almost not ready. He's like, well, hold on, I got to kill these range minions, man. And then he gets Destiny gated on as his flash is just a little bit far away.
I love that Showmaker as well gives Docdom like a chance to hit his Super Mega Death Rocket, and then he's like, all right, well, I guess I'll just come in and secure this. That one's going to land, and Birdle is just going to pick up the kill onto Morgan. Gragas just being put down, and this game is starting to fall apart for Fred Brion.
Things really out of control now. You've got a Camille who has 2 kills early.
我慢のローテーションに付き合うしかないですね。
Has a call finishing and 17 more minions. He is going to get, you know, plates up here on the top side of the map as well.
ダマンからしたら、後期のパースパイクを迎える前にゲーム決定したいから、早いゲーム展開は望ましいし、ジンクスに金が入るんだったら、レートもそこそこ戦えるんで、ジンクスに金集めるのも大事です。相当これ金入ったんじゃない？苦しかったの。
Yeah, it's feeling a bit greedy here from Damwon because now they have like 4 win conditions that they're like meeting pretty comfortably all over the place. Is Henna not going to be able to take down this tower? And then he's going to get flashed on. He does have his Feather Storm, but when do you use it and does it keep you alive? And the answer is now, and it will. Blade Caller comes through here, but we're waiting for a hook shot from Bertel. And Henna is just dead. No answer whatsoever.
And that's why, you know, he backed off because he was like, oh, I think I'm going to die if I actually greed for this turret. But he was greeding for the turret the whole time, and that's why he is dead.
主導権を取られるっていうのはこういうことなんだよな。
Maybe he just didn't think he had the damage.
Yeah, I think he definitely was like going, oh, okay, well,
なんか シーズン中のひどかったダムワンはどこに消えたんだろう。
Certainly could not. When we watch the replay, I want to see if he could have actually flashed the initial engage because he did have flash backup available at the time.
やるべきことちゃんとやれてるわ。
He was already hookshotted onto. And,
but there was no outer turret. Like, you're never going to be able to walk that far. It's like, even if you are Xayah with Featherstorm, Cleanse, and Flash, right, you feel safe, but you can't walk as fast as Camille.
Yeah, you'd have to hit the root, and even then, I don't know if you actually get out. This is actually going back to the Gragas pick up on the top side here. Just straight up so ahead. The Super Mega Death Rocket connects. Ask is not great. Yeah. Don't know if it would have saved him. I think if you flash the initial hook shot here, maybe then you Blade Call away, but he flashes after using the Blade Call and or after using his Feather Storm. And doesn't matter. He is down.
There's no way to make that one work as he pings out the cooldowns as well. Showmaker moving towards this top side, and man, it is just feeling like Damwon Kia can do absolutely anything. Bertel is going to find delight in his jungle here, as well as the Fat Flash over the wall is going to get him to safety. As Umpty will be able to take this Hex Deck Drake, given some time here.
バードルさん MVP 取れるかもです。
Will be likely this inner turret as soon as another minion wave is going to turn up. But
and I mean, look, second crash gonna come through here. Yeah, this is just ultimate control of the map.
ドッタブが取りそうだけど。
Canyon's going to find Umpty here as well.
But Umpty
might become dead as he is going to throw out the Crescent Guard. Good knock-up, and that is going to mean that the Viego locks down that kill. Now the resets come in as he gets to be whichever champion he would like to be. Decent package there as well for Lava, though, as they lock down the Twisted Fate. Morgan, very, very low, but Canyon's taking matters into his own hands.
Canyon でもおかしくないかもです。
dead on the side of Fred Brion, and there is nothing Henna can do about this one whatsoever.
Nothing he can do, nothing anyone can do, and we haven't talked about Lava in a long time this game because the rest of the game has just been so off.
大丈夫だ。キャニオン。ADA 同じだ。はい、お疲れ様でした。ありがとうございます。あとは金曜日ね。今週の金曜日。明日か。ありがとうございます。
Then they have the follow-up. They have so much map control that Kellen can just come over here. It's a nice crescent guard, but it's just not enough. The Delight is trying to miracle save this for when Lava packages in. It's just not enough. Yes, Showmaker goes down, but like...
Morgan throws the cask at an already dead Showmaker, as Showmaker again is just baiting out every single ability from Fred Brion.
If he uses that to try to control the choke instead, maybe more people get out alive.
ありがとうございます。
I think Fred Brion have lost
好みは人それぞれだよね。
mentality and their morale in this series now is... Oh no.
Yeah, Damwon, they are going to find Morgan once again, and yeah, not a whole lot of options. Canyon is going to turn into Morgan and now look to use some Gragas-ness to get around the rest of this map. Fred Brion are just desperately trying to hold on. But Damwon Kia just have way too many tools. Decent solar flare there as they're going to try and dive in on top, but it's a great stun onto Umpty. Immediately he's going to go down. Canyon locks up that kill. That big one did a lot of damage to multiple members of Damwon Kia, but
俺アナリストデスクやってる時が一番気持ちが楽でいいけど、喋ること考える時は頭疲れるけど、あそこの席で好き放題喋ってんの気が楽でいいですよ。この試合こうだった。
You need to be sitting at like 2,000 gold behind at worst case scenario, you know, in a situation like this, so you can actually then, you know, press the R button later on and win the game. And falling behind is one thing, but then just lapses in judgment like we've seen from Morgan this game, like we've seen from Delight this game, have really cost Fredit Brion so much. Like, you could fall a little bit behind, then you could recover, but you can't fall this far behind, then get caught out in the jungle repeatedly where you have no vision, make overextensions, you know, like this. These are the moments where Dom1 Kia just start to lock you out of the game because you're greedy, because you're like, oh, I just want to farm, I just want to wait for the late game, and Bertle says, no, I will punish you.
Yeah, I think that was a pick that happened during the replay.
Yes.
Yeah, so comfortable there from Bertle. As you can see, Divine Sundera has already been put together. Looks like Death Dance should be coming in pretty soon as well. Showmaker tidying up minions here towards the top side, and Damwon just so many options.
ダマ選ぶんじゃないですか。やっぱジェンチーの方が、フルメンツだとジェンチーの方がパワーある。ダマ選ぶ理由としてはね、攻めやすいと思うよ。T1 側からすると。フェイカーに耐えてもらって、トップとボットどっちからでも T1 の方が強いだろうから。この2つで勝負しよっかみたいな感じができるから作戦立てやすいね。これダバーがやった BO3 のうちの3試合、ミラーダメですよ、ライブは。これライブじゃないんで、これ録画なんで。ダマンがやったのって、結局ミッド中心にどうゲーム組み立てるかのことしかやってないからね。ルシアン取ったり、TF 取ってカミールとのシナジーで、みたいな。結構ミッド中心。
申請したらワンチャンもないか。Dom1 Kia to win the series, and most of the English casters actually predicted it to be obviously a 3-0.
いやでもワンチャンはあると思いますよ。バードルが覚醒する日とかあるから。いやボットのレーニングで散々ダム 1T1 に今シーズン負けてるんで。でトップの 1v1 でも負けてるんですよ。
And yes, I do think they got just straight up beaten. I don't think Dom1 Kia were like messing around and not playing for real.
ただ集団戦のクオリティとかで結構イーブンに持ってったりするのがダム1というか、結局キャリオンが育った時にショーメーカーがそこに続いて、なんか集団戦イーブンみたいなのは結構あったんで。これジェンチーよりかは明らかにやりやすいと思います。
Ignite comes in here, and Umpty, yeah, he doesn't have the Crescent Guard for that long, but the nerf doesn't even mean anything because he was already way overextended. Good backstopped there by Showmaker. Jungler is now dead. It's 21 minutes into the game, but I think that Dom1 Kia might just be able to take a Baron.
I think they definitely can. No jungler for the side of Fredit Brion. Vision control, Kellen freely disabling wards here by himself as a Recon. I think that package is going to be so late. They're going to teleport for it.
Yep, Kellen wrapping around here. He has the quickness available. Lava tries to get in, and it is going to be Canyon locking this one down. Delight is so low. But Kellen as well. I mean, Lava does a lot of damage here.
ケイトリンはね、レーンが強いからです。
And now Bertle diving on in. Docdom's going to lock down that kill. He gets excited now as Hannah. Don't know about that positioning as Dom1 Kia just rolling over the top of Fredit Brion. The Lord will be taken down as well as Umpty unable to get into this fight whatsoever. Dom1 Kia, this is an absolute shellacking in game 3.
Yeah, we're at 11,000 gold the lead now for Dom1 Kia.
ケイトリンは序盤が強く中盤が強く後半が強い。
Taking away blue buffs, taking away vision on the bottom side of the map here for Dom1 Kia.
そう。序盤のレーニングが強いから で、レナータとラックスとコンボピックがあるんで、カミールとかでも相性がいいんですよ。
back-to-back
なる
miracle.
ほど、あ
But
り
it
が
just
とう
isn't
ご
to
ざい
be
ます。
tonight. Stamwon Kia are by far the better team. The expected result from that last match. Remember, no one really thought.
まあリスクもその分ありますけどね、こけたらそのゲーム終了みたいな、もう勝てませんみたいなのはあるんですけど、そのリスクとのを見てもリターンが大きい。成功した時のリターン、圧倒的な差ができます。LGL だとね、ケイトリングを成功させてるチームがないのでFM が一応やったんですけど、まあ圧倒的すぎてちょっとなんかそれを参考にしてもみたいな。
Just looking to be the stronger team and being a team that's confident and has prepared to use old drafting styles to win this series through superior mechanics. Don't think we'll see the same drafting style in the next round here for Damwon Kia, depending on where they go.
Well, here's a demonstration of the 1-3-1 here, Wolf.
Yes, look at that.
Fantastic. There we go. It's another win condition now on display. Didn't think that they'd have an opportunity to exhibit.
結局のところはあれですね、テレポートがインテレポートになるまでの14分間でタワープレート4枚近く狙えるよ、パワーがあるから、まあそらあかんやろってやつだと思います。レートゲームも決して弱いわけではないから、2コアが弱いだけでケイトリングは3、4ってこうまたコアが増えてくるとまた結局強くなるから。
And wait for these super minions to start heading on forward. The onus is not on Damwon Kia to start this one up because they can wait for their army to join them.
Yep.
This inhibitor, the last one remaining on the top side of the map, and it is just going to fall down in a matter of time. Dogdom here with the rock.
あとはね、ゲームを動かすのがそこそこ簡単っていうのもある。ゲームメイクしやすい。ケイトの主導権さえ取っちゃえば、そこからスノーボールしてタワー取ってってこうゲームメイクはしやすい。代わりにケイトリングを相手にした場合はいや相手にした時がめんどくさくてタイムリミットなんで、何もしなかったらケイトが連勝っちゃうから何かしなきゃいけないですよ。例えば逆サイド、トップサイドで、ミッドサイドでみたいな、何かしらの有利を取りに行かなきゃいけないんだけど、相手からしたら、俺たちボットでやってるから、当然セーフティーにプレイしとけばいいよねってなるんで、守りに入っちゃうんだよね。で、ケイトリンのところにじゃあカウンターしてガンクさせばいいかってみんな思うじゃないですか。いや、そのボットレーン相手下に攻めてきてるから、ボットレーン手厚いんですよ、介護が。ミッドからジャングルからの介護がね。なんで、まあ、非常にこう作戦が立てやすい、遂行も、まあ、やりやすいっていうのもバンの要因の一個。
Grand entrance is going to land onto the Leona. Kellen, of course, has the best item in the game as Umpty is going to push him over the wall. Kellen says thanks. And Umpty now going to run out. And is going to be a hookshot deck. Picks up here, full Birdle, and now Predator with only 4 members underneath his turret. Delight very, very low as well. There's the flash from Wood Canyon. Immediately Heartbreakers to get himself back out again. As the Rakan is going to die, the Blade
基本的にロールは3連あるうちの2連を有利取ったら勝ちっていう序盤の有利を取るから、リフトヘラルドが取れたり取りやすかったり、ドラゴンが取りやすかったり、タワープレートを取りに行きやすかったり、相手のジャングルを潰しに行きやすかったりっていうのが起こるんですよ、ドラフトで。だから 2連勝つように狙うんですよ、ドラフトっていうのは。基本的にジャングルのマッチアップとミッドのマッチアップ2連とか、ミッドイーブン、ジャングルイーブンだけどボットとトップは勝ちだから2連ウィン、ね、で2連ウィンを取ればその2連ウィンのやつが1連ルーズは引き分けのところに行くだけで 3連ウィンになるんです。そうなると自分たちのゲームプランを相手に押し付けやすいから、基本的にはそうやってゲームメイクして。だから主導権ない側は相手がやってくることに対して受け身にならなきゃいけない。受け身になると、ロールっていうのは基本的に難しいゲーム。視界がないから。相手の動きが見えてれば受け身になってもどうとでもなるんだけど、全部予測だからね。こうしてくるだろうから、それが1個でも外れると負けるんで。ジェイスとかに関しては、どういったらいいの？ジェイス、アーリー、ライズとかが今、すげえ多いと思うんですけど、ジェイス、ライズ、アーリーとかに関しては、無難なんですよ。チャンピオン。ある程度役割があって、12.4 かな。で、先出しも安定ができて、そういうチャンピオンがやっぱね、ここに出てくる。ジンクスなんかもとりあえず先出ししとけば、まあ、ある程度どんなチャンピオン。で、ゼリの番率が多いのは、相手にファーストピックされたときに、ゼリのパワースパイクを迎えたら、厄介だ。ヘカリムなんかもそう。今、ファーム速度がそこそこ速くて、最初の5レベルまで最しのいじゃえばそこそこ強い。役割ある程度ある。ノーチなんかもそう。アーリもそうだよ。こういうなんかでね、無難なピックがマジで多い。B もそう。オリベアなんかもそう。まあ、とりあえず
すごい雑な質問ですが、なんでドフムあんなに強いんですか？
DFM の強さですか？まずレーンが強いですね。もう本当にぶっちゃけて言っちゃうと、レッドサイド取ったら、要はエビに後出しさせたら、エビに勝てるプレイヤーが、多分 LJL にいないから、ワンレーン、ウィンが確定する。じゃあ、ボットかミッドかジャグでもう一個勝てる要素を追加しとけば、まあ、ゲームに勝つよね。究極論言っちゃうと。それがブルーサイドで起こっちゃうのがトリンダメアとかなんだけど。そこは一番大きなポイントじゃないですか。
そしてブルーを取ったらメタチャンプを一体取れるから勝てる。
組みやすいと思いますよ。エビという選手がいる。エビにだから勝てる選手が今ないから。コブコブがそうだったんです。で特に今年はエビのパフォーマンスは本当になあこすありました。そこが相手にとって読みづらいんですよ。去年までとか一昨年までだったら、まあ、エビはなあ出してくるでしょうみたいな。
ゲングが優勝候補だと思ったんですけど、T1 に劣らない点って何ですかね？
そこがいろんなチャンピオンが出てくることによってちょっとやりづらい。
っていうのがそんなにでかいんですね。
でかいでかい。
マッチなはずでもなんか勝ったりするからな。
ワンレーン勝てるっていうのがめっちゃでかいし、で一番やばかったのが、なんだっけ、トップ耐えてねピックで勝っちゃうから、多分そこがなんか強さを感じる時だと思う。なんでこんな FM 強いのは、トップかミッドが耐えてねっていうマッチアップを作ってる時に、なぜかトップとミッドが勝っちゃうから、
どういうこっちゃって多分なるのはそこだと思う。それが多分強さを感じるポイントだと思う。
そしてジグハトップ以外を介護できちゃうと。
NG が優勝候補だったんです。
ソロレーンの安定感が異常なほど高いですよね。先出しでも空いてればとりあえず取っとけば負けないのもやばい。すごい腑に落ちました。ありがとうございます。
いいね。はい。そんな今年僕 LCK のデータ見てない。ちょっと見てから答え。そんな LCK 調べられてないし、全試合見てるわけでもない。あと、ジェンジーメンバーが変わりすぎちゃって。なんだっけ。T1 と直接対決全部ジェンジーメインメンバーじゃなかったから、ここじゃないとは言いづらいんだけど。T1 に劣らない点ですか？多分ルーラーのキャリー力じゃない。あとドランのは劣らないと思います。で、中盤のガンクだったらピーナッツが勝ってます。前より。この3つはジェンジーにとって結局だからね、ジェンジーが勝つときは、僕はずっと思ってるんですけど、ジェンジーというか、チョビーが勝つときは、チョビーがスーパーキャリーしてるか、チョビーがチームのために、なんか自分を捨てて動いてるときのどっちかしか勝たないですよ、チョビーという。で自分を捨てるってチームファイトするみたいなのがあんまりしないプレイヤーなんで、スーパーキャリーできなかったら負けるんですよ。めっちゃ圧倒しましたみたいな。僕はそこですかね。ジェンジーが勝てないだろうなって思ったのは。あとは、ワードクリアとかも、パワーは高いですよ。7%パーですかね。52%パーは高いですよ。半分以上。飛び次第だと思います。上位チームと当たれば当たるほどチョビーの存在感が薄くなるんですよ。こんな感じで合ってますか？よし、明日も LGL。皆さん、LGL。これはまだ、されてるんで。お疲れ様でした。また MSI が、
おつでした。
はい、お疲れ様でした。